Hello. I am going to give this about 5 minutes and get myself organized before I start doing anything because all of my tarot cards went flying across the room. The whole pile. Some of these are upside down. Let's see. Are all of these upside down? I don't purposely read reversals. I don't flip any of them upside down. So I'm going to try and put them right side up. Sometimes they go upside down anyway in the readings, but that's usually a sign that I usually take that as a sign that, oh, this actually does want to come through reversed. Not always. It usually doesn't happen. Anyway, hello. How are y'all doing today? I'm Fia. I'm an energy and spirit worker, Reiki, and Healing Arts Practitioner. And today what I'm offering is a healing circle, intuitive energy work, maybe Reiki if it comes through, with the idea of when people come together in community, when everyone comes together with a common healing intention, regardless of time and space, it strengthens the healing intentions for everyone. That makes sense. So I am going to be reading some tarot and an oracle card deck. This is the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck by Kim Krans. To give a feeling or an energy for a collective healing theme, something that might be coming through for a lot of us. You can return to this whenever you like, at least in the healing portion is channeled so that regardless of where and when you're watching this, you will receive the healing as long as you're open to it, only with your own free will, of course. So with that being said, hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I am a bit disorganized today. So give me 2 seconds. I'm still trying to get certain things set up. There we go. Okay. I have been totally out of it. I think it's because it is the dredges of winter right now. January and February are the worst months. I don't even consider February a month. I just forget that it exists. Because I am usually in a haze from lack of sunlight and extended rain. The advertised song. I was kind of late getting on anyway. So everyone, yeah. Yeah, so come in whenever you need. There is no pressure to be on time here. Time is an illusion. All right, let's see. I'm just going to center myself and focus. I'm a little bit over-caffeinated. It takes very little coffee to over-caffeinate me now. Just focusing and grounding my energy. I just looked up at 555. I don't always read angel numbers or like numbers and signs, because if I did that, then literally anytime I looked at the clock would be a sign. And I look at the clock a lot, but 555 might mean something. I've been getting 555 a lot. Okay. Hello. I hope you're doing well. Let's see, what else do we need to know? What other the collective healing intentions when they come through? The cards, they're just flying all over the place. The pack I have my tarot cards in, this is broken on either side. And I'm usually careful about it, but I was lifting it up to grab it, and just, they all went flying. So everything's flying around today. So the main thing that came out upright, King of Pentacles. That's a vibe. Let's see what oracle cards want to come out. I'm probably going to read from the book for the oracle cards, depending on what card it is, because I really like how Kim Crayons writes her decks and the descriptions. Also, some of them are a bit esoteric, very intangible, which I enjoy, but it makes it hard to get the readings sometimes. Okay. Coagulation. And reddening. I like how much red there is in both of these. Oh, interesting. One more. Lightening. Those are 3 cards. That's kind of a lot, but oh well, we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. Let's see. So we have this one that flipped out, King of Pentacles, with 7 of Pentacles. Eight of Swords. I can speak. And this is just the regular Rider Tarot deck, the Rider Waite. It's just in pocket edition, and it makes it much easier for me to shuffle. And the King of Swords. Then the 3 oracle cards we pulled were Coagulation, Revening, and Lightning. I'm gonna show them close up because I love the art. I can study my hands. And honestly, I like this. The big thing I'm getting in this, all of this right now, is feeling stuck. It's feeling like you've put in a lot of work towards something and you're just not getting anywhere. Even if it's just in life. Like, this general feeling of we've been putting in all this effort, kind of going through these motions, trying to harness your passion, trying to do things in life. And you had these big ideas and you're just feeling stagnant. So I'm thinking of how to phrase this in terms of the healing intention, because a lot of this is what I was getting this morning when I was just thinking of what have I and what have other people I know been feeling recently. A lot of messages that came through of just feeling like you really want instant gratification, really wanting to see immediate payoff, and this feeling of, oh, I've done all of this. I feel like I've done everything right, and I'm not getting what I want. And some of this, and I feel a lot of this is just mindset. So much is just I'm not one to say that mindset is everything, especially in terms of if we're thinking of manifesting money or love, whatever it might be. I often think that there's some more complexities that go into things like that. There's a lot of external, but mindset helps. I'm going to read from the books for the oracle cards, just to kind of bring this together and think of how I can phrase this. I have been having a lot of trouble connecting the dots and pulling things together recently, right? Brain fog. I'm going to start with coagulation. Where are you? Coagulation. Yeah, you're at the end. I've been getting coagulation in my own breathings recently. Solidity, adherence, stuckness. Coagulation is the great alchemical operation of Earth. By way of this operation, we experience that which was fluid churning into a solid formation. The formerly disparate ingredients begin adhering together into a fixed and solid unit. The result is visible, reliable, and eventually concrete. When you hear the phrase, "it is finally taking shape," coagulation is underway. The shadow aspect of coagulatio is that the elements may have come together without much awareness, and in turn they became unconsciously attached. Inertia and resentment set in. The parts can no longer separate, even if they wish to. Many long-term relationships have coagulation aspects, a naturally occurring codependency by which both partners feel unseen or unknown as individuals. The work of coagulation is to experience the merging with other while not losing oneself in the mush. When this card appears, the alchemist must discern whether the earth element is helping or hindering the work. Is the attachment one of benevolence or convenience? We definitely have like a lot going on here because immediately there were lots of earth elements, and then we brought in that sword, that air, which is why I'm thinking a lot of this is not external. It's a lot of our mental perceptions, how we are viewing things. Lightning is this energy of purity, of enlightenment, of perfection. But the shadow side of that, where we've reached this point where we're like, oh, I've reached enlightenment. I'm there. I've got it. I'm in the heavens. But the downside of that is that that doesn't exist in life. That's why we bring reddening in, which is the blood. It is the life force. You can't just have everything up in the air. These ideal visions without bringing life to it. So a lot of this is just getting out of the stuckness and being able to cut through the mental chatter. Maybe cutting through this attachment to the material world. Hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot about like releasing attachments to the material world, leaning into the why, the internal drive versus the external reward. So that you can get out of this feeling of like not knowing where to go next. Feeling like you're in a prison of your own making, essentially. Of our mind's own making. Cutting through those attachments, those fears of the material. Thank you. And being able to innovate and see the why and the purpose, and then bring some of that passion back into it versus like you're just like chugging along and not making any progress. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to think of ways to like put this cohesively. I don't have it much more to say right now. Maybe if my brain had it all put together today, I'd be able to speak more eloquently. But I think everyone gets the gist. Either way, if anyone has any other intentions or ideas of where they are coming from, ideas they may have, if you're comfortable with sharing, go for it. When I start channeling the healing, it's always going to be for greatest healing good, regardless of intention. And sometimes the intention does not show up how we think it's going to. Oh, that's the worst. Yeah, I hate when you have like a job that you think is going to be good for you. It's good paying, or it's what you want, but then you're just working in an environment with people that are unhealthy. Peace and self-trust. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like don't get me wrong, there's tons of external stuff. I think that like influences the way we perceive things. And especially with this Seven of Pentacles, where you're kind of impatiently waiting. That's what I was thinking of this morning, is this concept of patience and wanting instant gratification. Is things in the material world take so long. Like anything sustainable takes a very long time. And we always say patience is a virtue, but then patience is not really rewarded or extended much in our culture. We're very much a culture of wanting to succeed, wanting to compete against others and like race against others, and expecting kind of instant gratification in everything we do. And it can be really hard on our mind when things take a long time, or when things aren't working out the way we expected them to on the timeline we expected them to. So there's something to be said about reclaiming your own authority to work on your timeline and build something sustainable, to live your life in a way that isn't feeling rushed or feeling like you have to achieve some sort of milestone in order to finally be happy, in order like, oh, this is when I finally succeeded. Now I can finally live my life. Instead, and if we're not making it, then not knowing what to do and feeling stuck and kind of giving up. So yeah, really cutting through the attachments, any unhealthy attachments to the material world, to the external, to time, to feeling stuck. Maybe you might need a respite. Maybe you just need a break. Maybe you do need to spend some time just chugging along, but like create that time to do something else, to focus on something else if things aren't going your way. And yeah, bring in some life, bring in some playfulness. This reddening. Examine the why. Like, okay, why were you doing the thing you're trying to do in the first place? What is the purpose? Even if it's just like one word of why you do anything. And how can you innovate and create from that purpose versus getting stuck? Okay. I kind of like it. I said a lot there. Let me see. Let me see what crystals I want to bring in. I don't have all of them right now here, but I have a collection. My very disorganized crystal collection. I'm gonna bring in this Tibetan quartz. I've been loving this. It is quartz. It's naturally formed, double terminated. So this is just its natural formation, how it grows. And every single one is unique. It has forms in the middle of different minerals it grew around. I think it's usually iron, something else. I forget what the other minerals it usually contains within it are. Thank you so much. It's really good at bringing clarity to intuition, like kind of translating it down in a way where we can actually comprehend it. Connecting to your higher self. Being able to communicate your intuition or your drive better. I need this. I need this for my communication. So we're bringing some of this in. Let's see. This other one, that is Lumerian sea quartz. I'm good. How are you? I'm going to kind of create a grid so I can do the healing by proxy as like a visual aid. Lumerian seed quartz. I don't necessarily know if I vibe with the stories behind Lumerian seed quartz, which is all about an ancient society called Lumeria or something. I don't know the details, and it has these little lines in it that are said to be like codes storing the information from this ancient civilization. Supposed to be kind of like Atlantis. I'm iffy on that part. It might be true. I don't know. Not necessarily my vibe though. Not a huge Atlantis, ancient civilization type girl. But this is really good, I think, at like really moving through blocks. Especially, I think, at least for the mental field, but also like the entire energetic body. This is that thing where if anything feels like really heavy in me, I just hold this and I feel just a little bit lighter. So especially if you've been feeling stuck and like really like in this earth plane, this material plane, and not really being able to move, to expand, to think, to have like innovation and purpose, you're just kind of meh. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said. Like, at least for me, I know it's difficult because, as I mentioned before, it's January and February. There's a lot of physical reasons why I'm feeling stuck because it's winter and I don't have enough sunlight. And so there's definitely, but it's a lot of perception, basically. All right. Thank you for stopping by. Um, this is Lumerian. Here, I'll type it. Sometimes things actually do feel stuck. Sometimes there's times where you have to change things up in the physical realm, but a lot of this feels very much like your brain is feeling stuck, so you're having trouble making any changes or adjustments or moving outside of what you think you want versus what you actually want. Yeah, I know. I miss my sunshine. And this is Tibetan sea quartz. And we're bringing in, and very on point for this reddening card and how much red turned up in coagulation. This carnelian. Bringing in that red, bringing in that kind of fire, that passion. Not necessarily impatience, but being able to kind of feel where your passion and your drive is, especially if you've been feeling disconnected, which can happen when we've been a little bit too stuck in that earthy energy. I love carnelian. Celestite. That peace, that tranquility, that connecting to the higher self, the higher realms. It's just very calming too. It's very much makes me think of this like Eight of Swords, how she's tied up and like blindfolded and surrounded by swords, but really if she can remove the ties herself and remove the blindfold, it's not tied tightly. And I think of this in terms of the celestite of when you're feeling very tense or very attached to something, you can get into a mental loop, a mental spiral, and it can be very hard to take a breath and go out of it and be able to see things from a larger perspective versus like that loop. Just bringing some calming, letting go of that anxiety. Bringing in two things now. This is Healer's Gold. It's very heavy because it contains tons of iron. Yeah, exactly. You know, like when I'm really tired and I haven't slept enough, I will find myself going down this spiral of the weirdest, most negative, most illogical thinking possible. And sometimes I just need to, usually need to go to bed. This happened when I worked nights. My mental health was down the gutter. I cannot work nights for a reason. Like once it hits like midnight, my brain just starts devolving and I get into loops. Either they're just weird and illogical because I'm half asleep, or they're just negative and anxiety based. Yeah, but like even if you've just been like struggling in general, our brains normalize this loop. It becomes our new normal. And you just need to like take some time to retrain, to see things from a larger perspective. And it's almost like I can viscerally feel it when I like take a deep breath and like reconnect to my higher self, or like the less anxious version of myself when I'm in that, and I can literally feel like I'm like taking a step back. And instead of pinpointing on one thing, I can see the whole picture. Anyway, this is Healer's Gold. It has pyrite and I don't know how to pronounce it. Manganese? I don't know. It contains a lot of iron. It's much heavier than it looks. It's really good for solar plexus and the heart, protecting the heart space. And just channeling and moving through energy while also protecting and like being able to channel energy from a heart space manganese. Here. I'm going to look it up and I'll type it because I do not know. Manganese. And this is just, it's very pretty, right? Just tar on it. This is a rock. It's just a plain old rock. I got it when I was cleaning out my grandparents' house after they passed. So it was like the souvenir I took. I mean, I took their furniture and stuff, but I wanted something from the land itself. It's just this rock. And I put it in their old, like 80-year-old oak tree and just left it there for a week. And took it before we sold their house. And there's just something deeply connected to it. Like the energy it carries, very connected to the land, to, I think of this King of Pentacles. If we're talking about healing our relationships with the material realm, what does abundance mean to you? Is it just stuff? And like reframing our mindset of what we value in the material realm and what is important to us, and connecting more deeply to the earth in that way. So this rock, this plain old rock, bringing this in. All right, 2 more. This tiny piece of azurite. It broke off from my larger piece of azurite, the malachite. One of my favorite crystals. Genuinely just very tranquil, but very intelligent. A lot of this connection to higher wisdom, to our own innate wisdom, to breaking through the barriers that our mind puts on us, to connect to our mind in a more healthy way. We're not trying to like deny our ego, deny our mind. It's reframing and realigning our relationship with it so we can think more clearly, move more clearly, and contain or hold space for our own wisdom. Hi, how are you? So this tiny piece that broke off of my azurite. There's also, I don't know if this piece has it, but there is malachite in the other piece, which is all about the heart and transformation. And it is lab grown, but I still like its energy. Or lab created, I mean, they just heat treated amethyst to make this citrine. But I still really like its energy. It's very joyful. It just like gives me energy in my solar plexus, makes me kind of connect to that kind of playfulness, that joy, that ability to trust and believe in, hey, I got this. That's self-worth. It's also an abundance crystal for healing our relationship to abundance, if you want to. But either way, and this citrine. I need more water. Give me 1 second. All right. So I have a little by proxy crystal grid set up for all of us. I'm going to be kind of channeling. The energy doesn't like connect straight through the computer. That's just used as like an intention focuser. Works all around us, energy. I'm going to be using this as a proxy, and I'll be kind of visualizing and working with everyone individually while I channel energy using this, and I'll sometimes be up here. And I'll play music during this. If you're not comfortable with music, you can just put me on mute. I don't mind. So with that being said, if you want to get cozy, grab a glass of water, grab a blanket. I always want blankets around me when I'm receiving any energy work. Water, tea, connect to your breath, all of the good things. Or if you want to receive this while doing something else, if you're busy, if you're at work, it is the middle of the day, that's fine. The energy will be channeled nonetheless, as long as you're willing to receive it. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to put on the music. I'm going to focus, set my intention, and channel this energy. And I will bring you back probably in about 25 minutes or 30, depending. Let me see what my timer is already on. If it works. Okay. All right. So about 25 minutes. I'll bring you back. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me. And just a reminder, if you are watching a replay of this works through time and space. And if you want to set your own intention that you're working on, you could just kind of say it in your mind, or say it out loud, ask your guides, whatever works for you. All right. If you are ready to come back. Feel free to wiggle your fingers or your toes. Shake off anything you need to shake off if you want to act like a wet dog. Thank you so much for being here with me today. This one. That was definitely an interesting healing. I enjoyed that. There's just a lot of usually I know when there's a lot of heavier blocks to work through. I sense this when I receive a healing and also when I'm channeling. It's almost like very uncomfortable. Like very very heavy on the discomfort, like you're rigid and fighting against the healing, and then you get moments where you relax and then you go back. So it's a lot of push and pull, and that's what I was feeling. But there are definitely a lot of times where there'd be a release. And a bit about the lymphatic system came up, the thyroid and the lymphatic system. So those might be things to keep an eye on. Even, when we're talking about being stuck, we're talking about the lymph nodes and the lymph fluid, drinking plenty of water, doing lots of movement, the rebounding on the trampoline if you have one, or doing inversions and yoga if you can. Even legs against the wall are really helpful just for helping keep the lymph fluid moving. Just a side note, because that came through. But yes, anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up for me today and for being here and for all the kind words. I'm not sure when my next live stream will be. I was attempting to do them every week, but we'll see. Up in the air. I'll let y'all know when my next one is. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day or night. I honor you on your journey. And I'll see y'all.